So today we are back with another episode of the Championship Transfer Rumour Roundup, and we've got a lot to go over in today's video. We've got the playoff final to talk about, more manager news is going around the Championship at the moment, and of course we've got an abundance of transfer rumours to discuss. So as always, let me know in the comments down below, what do you make of all the recent speculation, and if you've seen any other transfer rumours which we don't bring up in today's video, make sure to get them in the comments down below. But before we do hop into any of that, we have to talk about the Championship playoff final. If any of you guys did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, then I will include your comments on screen now. And fair play to everyone who did get it right. Aston Villa walking away with a 2-1 victory. And finally, this sort of Ben HD curse has been broken. I've finally been able to call and back the side who was going to win at Wembley. In terms of the final itself, it was El Ghazi who gave Aston Villa the lead just before half-time. Going into the second half, John McGinn managed to make it 2-0 after the Derby goalkeeper Roos had fumbled the ball coming into the box. And then for the last 15 or so minutes, Derby really tried to get back into the game. They were throwing absolutely everything at Villa. They did get a goal back, but in the end that wasn't to be enough for them. And so congratulations to Aston Villa for promotion to the Premier League. Villa and Derby fans, let me know down below, what did you make of the game? Despite Villa being promoted, we still do have a bit of Villa transfer news to go over later on in the video. And then in League One, we've seen Charlton be promoted back up to the Championship after beating Sunderland in very dramatic circumstances. So before we do get into any transfer rumours, we do have some managerial positions being talked about at the moment. The first of which being Marcelo Bielsa, who has signed a contract extension with Leeds United, so he will be in charge of the club next season. That is absolutely massive news for Leeds fans. I'm sure they were absolutely delighted to hear. We spoke about it a little bit in the last video. There were some other European clubs potentially interested in coming in for Bielsa, but with him staying on for a second season, as long as Leeds are able to keep hold of this core group of players that they've got at the moment, I think they'll give the Championship a real good go next season. You know, people have mocked Leeds for sort of bottling it in the way that they have this season, but you still have to appreciate the job that Bielsa has done there and the improvement they showed last season. And with another year at Leeds, you really feel like that could be their year then. Also, a rumour that's been absolutely everywhere in the past week or so has been Frank Lampard linked back to Chelsea as potentially their new manager, with maybe Maurizio Sarri leaving in the summer. In my opinion, I think it would probably be best for everyone for Lampard to have another season in the Championship with Derby. I think it would be a little bit too early in his career to be moving back to Chelsea. Derby fans, let me know down below what you've made of this speculation. In my opinion, I think it would probably be best for everyone if he was to stay at Derby for another year at least. But we will now hop over into some transfer rumours, and the first big one going around the league at the moment is Kamil Grosicki being heavily linked with a move to Nottingham Forest. Now, last season he had a brilliant year with Hull. He scored 9 goals and picked up 12 assists, and in my view, he's probably one of the most underrated wingers in the league, actually. Whenever you do talk about Hull, most of the time people turn their attention to Jarrod Bowen, but in terms of the creative onus in that Hull side, Grosicki's really the heartbeat of it, and I think he would be a really good signing for a side like Nottingham Forest. If you imagine Joe Lolley on one wing and Grosicki on the other with Carvalho in at the number 10 and grabbing up front, that would be a fantastic attacking diamond. The fee being talked about is around about £2.5 million. Grosicki has one more year left on his contract. The only problem with signing a player like Grosicki is he's not going to have any resale value. He is 30 years old now, so probably only has a couple more years in this sort of peak before his performances do start to take a little bit of a dip, perhaps. I think the move would make sense. Hull would be gutted to lose a player of Grosicki's quality. The only thing that Forest fans will be hoping is that Grosicki isn't going to be a replacement for Joe Lolley. And Nottingham Forest are also said to be interested in left-back CAVALEIRO from the Eredivisie. He's available on a free transfer over the summer. Last season he was able to score 4 goals and pick up 6 assists, so is quite an attacking fullback. He's also fairly versatile, can play on the wing or in midfield, and Olympiacos and Real Betis are also said to be interested in the defender. But speaking about Nottingham Forest, a player who has been linked away from the club has been Joe Lolley. Now, this transfer rumour was always going to come back up, especially with Aston Villa now being promoted. This link came up in January, but Joe Lolley is being linked with a 10 million move away from the club. Last season he scored 11 goals and got 11 assists, so it's no surprise to see some clubs potentially coming after him. I believe that Joe Lolley is an Aston Villa fan as well. He grew up supporting them, so if the opportunity did come around again to play in the Premier League and for your boyhood club, that would be a hard one to turn down. And another potential winger from the Championship Aston Villa are said to be interested in is Jarrod Bowen. Now, this speculation was also always going to come about after scoring 22 goals and picking up 4 assists, only 22 years old himself. The move to the Premier League is always going to come at some point of his career. He's had several standout performances throughout the season, likes to play on the right hand side, then cut inside onto his left. It really is only a matter of time before Jarrod Bowen is playing in the Premier League. I think this will be quite a sensible move for Aston Villa to go in for a player like Bowen. Hull, of course, will be gutted to lose him, and Grosicki as well if he was going to leave. And then finally, the last player Villa are being linked to in the Championship is Kalvin Phillips of Leeds United. Now, we did speak about Phillips a little bit in the last transfer rumour roundup video, where he was being linked with a move to Bournemouth. Now, Aston Villa are also said to be interested in the holding midfielder. The amount of progress he made in the last 12 months is absolutely staggering to see. I don't know, I've got a bit of a feeling that Leeds may just about manage to keep hold of Phillips. If a ridiculous offer did come in for him, then obviously he probably would end up going out the door. But I don't know, I've got a feeling with Bielsa saying and everything like that, I think they may just keep hold of him for at least one more season. And another Leeds player being linked away at the moment is Jack Clarke, the 18-year-old winger. Last season scored 2 goals and picked up 2 assists as well. Most of his appearances did come off the bench. Got back to potential whenever you watch him. You know, he really did have some standout performances throughout the season. Spurs said to be the club interested. There was talk of a 10 million bid being rejected, and Leeds have reportedly put a 20 million price tag on the youngster. So the question I'd ask to Leeds fans is, what would you value Jack Clarke at? What would you be willing to sell him at? In the past week or so, we've also seen Harry Arter being linked with a move to Fulham. I think this would be quite a tidy bit of business from Fulham, actually. I think he'd be a very useful player in the Championship. Spent last season out on loan at Cardiff, and so Bournemouth probably would be willing to let him go over the summer. And speaking of Fulham, they are probably preparing for quite a few sales over this transfer window, one of which being Ryan Sessegnon. He's a player who I can't really see playing in the Championship next season. Last season in the Premier League, he scored 2 goals and picked up 6 assists. Tottenham are said to be the club who is most interested in the youngster. And I'd be interested to see what sort of fee a player like Ryan Sessegnon will go for now. Potentially a replacement if Sessegnon was to leave at Fulham is Ivan Cavaleiro at Wolves. Most of his appearances last season came off the bench. He came off the bench 17 times, only made 6 starts in the Premier League. He scored 3 goals and picked up 1 assist. Wasn't really the most productive season for him. The season before in the Championship, he scored 9 goals and picked up 12 assists, so much more consistent numbers. And perhaps a move back to the Championship could be on the cards, with the player said to be valued at around about £12 million. Sam Gallagher always seems to be linked around the Championship, but it is Leeds United said to be interested in the Southampton striker. His most consistent season in the league came back in 2016/17 with Blackburn Rovers, where he was able to score 11 goals that season. He is said to be available on a transfer this season, and the 23-year-old could be a target for Bielsa. Gives them something a little bit different going forward, being 6'4". I think this one will probably come down to the price tag. Kilmarnock striker Eamon Brophy's been linked to the Championship, with both Leeds and Derby interested. He scored 11 goals last season in 24 starts, and being only 23 years old, there's obviously room for him to develop his game. I think if I remember correctly, I did see Leeds link with him back in January, so that's probably where this link comes from. Also, after Derby missed out on promotion at Wembley, it's going to be an interesting summer transfer window for them, especially with, you know, a lot of their key players throughout the season being on loan. Now, Sky Sports have reported that Derby have pretty much accepted that they won't be getting Harry Wilson or Mason Mount back next season, with them either staying at their parent clubs or they're going to leave and go elsewhere. You know, I think Liverpool are wanting about 25 million or so for Harry Wilson, which isn't going to be paid by any Championship club. But Derby are said to be interested in getting Tomori back on loan for another season. The 21-year-old impressed with Derby throughout the season, became a mainstay in their back four, and if they did manage to get this one done for another year, I'm sure all the Derby fans will be buzzing about that. Preston North End have been linked to Cork City defender Sean McLaughlin. This move, you know, it makes sense for Preston with our history of picking up players from the Irish League. It's been so hit and miss for us, really. You know, for every gem we pick up, like Alan Brown or Shoney Maguire, there's another player who comes over who doesn't really work, someone like Kevin O'Connor or Andy Boyle. So I never really know what to make of this sort of speculation. I could definitely see the club going for a player like this. Will it work out? Who knows? He's a left-sided centre-back, and at the age of 21, this sort of signing would fit into our model. And we spoke about Norwich and Jordan Rhodes in the last video as well, with them potentially going back in for the striker. However, since then it has come out that Sheffield Wednesday are looking for £7 million for the striker, and despite Norwich getting promoted and having that bump of money, I can't see them paying £7 million for Jordan Rhodes. There's got to be better value in other strikers out there. I think if that was, you know, maybe slashed in half, then they may consider it, but £7 million for Jordan Rhodes, I'm not sure Norwich are going for that. Swansea and Luton both look to be interested in midfielder Johnny Williams. He spent last season at Charlton Athletic. His contract is up in the summer. The only sort of risk with going in for a player like Williams is he has been very injury prone over the course of his career. I was a little bit surprised to see he was still only 25 years old. It seems like a player like Williams has been around for absolutely ages, getting like loaned out to the Championship and stuff like that, but potentially making the move to Swansea would make sense. He's a very tidy footballer on the ball, would fit into the philosophy of the way they like to play, and I know that the Charlton fans would be sad to be losing a player like him. A transfer which did surprise me a little bit was Lewis Holtby potentially going to Cardiff. He's available on a free over the summer after being released by Hamburg. He's made over 100 appearances for them and scored 14 goals in the process. I'm sure all you guys are aware of Lewis Holtby. He used to play for Spurs back in the day, got loaned out to Fulham as well. He's now 28 years old, and it looks as if he's looking to kickstart his career off somewhere else, with Rangers also potentially interested in the German midfielder. And And Cardiff are also said to be interested in Rotherham midfielder Will Vokes. Now, this one didn't come as a massive surprise to me. I was, almost certain that the bids were going to fly in for a player like Will Vokes. As soon as Rotherham weren't able to maintain their championship status and they were relegated, Will Vokes was always going to be a player who was in very high demand. Last season, he scored 7 goals and picked up 7 assists from playing in midfield. A lot of that time was spent in defensive midfield as well. But he's absolutely superb on and off the ball, brilliant technical ability. He is quite tenacious, but I do think he's got a good attitude. And along with signing Will Vokes, you get that massive long throne that he's got in his locker as well. And Cardiff are also the latest club to join the race in the signing for Jamal Lowe, the Portsmouth winger. After scoring 15 goals in League One last season, it's no surprise to see he's in quite high demand in the Championship. It looks as if Middlesbrough are interested in Jonas Knudsen after he was recently released by Ipswich Town to come in as cover at left back. And then we've got Daniel Bentley, who is said to be a target for Bristol City over the summer. Daniel Bentley's a bit of a away keeper, really. I thought he had a really good season a couple of years ago with Brentford when he first signed for them. Last season, though, I don't know if I'm just remembering him a little bit harshly, but I do think back to quite a few clangers he made over that season. Still a very good goalkeeper, but maybe a move away from Brentford and to start somewhere new would be good for his career. And potentially a goalkeeper who Brentford could be replacing him with is David Raya. They are said to be interested in the Blackburn Rovers goalkeeper should Daniel Bentley make the move away from Brentford. And we're also seeing Blackburn being linked with the move for Stuart Downing. I think that this one probably would depend on play time and the amount of wages that they're going to be paying. They're not going to be wanting to put a massive lump sum on a player like Stuart Downing if he's not going to be in their team week in, week out. Last season for Borough, he scored 2 goals and got 1 assist in 24 starts and 14 appearances off the bench. He's 34 years old now, will provide a bit of quality down one of the wings for Blackburn, but I'm not sure if he'd be starting week in, week out. We're seeing Bartosz Białkowski being linked with the move back to the Championship, with Birmingham said to be one of the clubs interested in the goalkeeper. Last season was hard to judge Białkowski because he did have a couple of really off games. In fairness, he was playing behind an Ipswich defence who was all over the place all season. I'm sure that didn't do his confidence any favours whatsoever. The season before that, I thought he was probably one of the most underrated goalkeepers in the league. He is getting on a little bit now. He is 31 years old. Still a very capable goalkeeper though, and if he did have that sort of solid Gary Monk defence in front of him, he could still be a good goalkeeper. But guys, there you have it. That is some of the recent speculation currently going around the league. If you've seen any of the stories that we didn't mention today, make sure to get them in the comments down below. And say down below, have you been happy with the players your club's been linked to so far? But like I said, that will now wrap it up, so thank you so much for watching. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.